You better have come prepared, because the time has come to know thine enemy. That's right, this is finally the end of episode 3, and this episode goes out with a bang. Even though most of the episode has been between okay, decent, and just average. Well, the boss itself, however, is pretty much the main presentation. You'd even be wondering how it's even possible, considering that all of the bosses up to this point have been so easy. I mean, the first boss battle tactic pretty much was hiding into holes and going into them. And finally, the second boss, you even had a god mode to take care of him if you waited long enough in order to get one from a random power-up. So it's like, okay, how could they even make a hard boss out of this game anymore? But they finally found a way into this wonderful. They know that the boss into this episode is really hard, considering that pretty much, well, just like episode 1, this is a really short level. There's like 3 rooms all in all before you finally get to the boss arena, which itself is pretty spectacular, should we say. Well, at least it looks spectacular, considering that this runs on the Wolfenstein 3D engine. I mean, it's still blocky and all of this, but I don't know. The arena itself is pretty massive. There's a whole bunch of side rooms that you can go into. Well, just you wait and see, because we're pretty much already done into this level. There's only 3 sections all in all, and it's gonna be into the next set of room that we're gonna see. But first, there's a little secret area that will net us a firebomb, an extra life, and finally a bulletproof armor. And overall, it's not totally necessary, but the firebomb is nice, if only because of the boss. Because we're gonna need as many huge weapons as we need. Now, what are we kidding? We went there for the healing basin, obviously. It is the best reason to go into a secret filled with turrets that don't even shoot at you. Yeah, I really don't understand those traps. Half of the time, they don't even do anything. In fact, they could have just done away with the bulletproof armor, and it will not have changed any single thing. You still will make it through this entire hallway of guns without taking any single bit of damage. So here we go, this is the enemy arena. Before you finally start fighting the boss, you need to go around the whole arena in order to destroy all of the other patrol robots. Because if you don't, the boss fight is just going to be even harder, and you don't need any kind of distraction while you're fighting this boss. Oh no, you're already gonna have plenty of them. And also, there's a couple of secrets that we have here. There's a Mercury mode, which is useless, and we're gonna come back to it later. And over here, this opens up this little wall that isn't as useless, but I'm gonna keep this weapon for the time being because I'm gonna run off all of my ammo. And yeah, I'm saving too. That shows how scared I am of this boss. And you should be too, just in case that you can't understand how the boss could be any kind of intimidating. Let's take a trip back to the memory lane when we fight another one of the FPS greats, the Cyber Demon. Remember how threatening and fearsome this guy used to be when you first fought him? Back then, there was no other guy like him, but nowadays, it's kind of a different story. Over time, this boss has become completely easy and void of any challenge. However, fighting the enemy will pretty much reminisce you about that first time that you ever fought the Cyber Demon and how it was all new and challenging. Because this boss fight, no matter how you approach it, will always remain a challenge. So let's go. Here's our enemy, a seemingly harmless robot that shoots homing missile in your face. And if that's not enough, he still has attacks that are even more annoying than this one. Just to give an idea about the difficulty of this guy, even the people who wrote the manual for this game says that they have trouble beating the boss. And the official FAQ itself also says, if you can beat this boss without cheating, you're really good. The first thing that you'll want to do against the boss is to get the iron key, because there's a whole bunch of bazookas as well as many other goodies hidden behind the locked doors, and you're gonna need every single one of them. Okay, maybe not as much, but let's just say this is not the kind of boss for which you want to add extra challenge. You'll already have enough trouble as it is, considering that the moment you enter into this room, there's 2 ballistic craft waiting to shoot you in the face. Oh, and the enemy also sneaked behind me because it managed to enter the room while I wasn't looking. So, time to go back to the secret area where the hidden key was. Stuff your face, no time for digestion, you don't have time to digest, you just have to shoot this robot into the face. No, that thing isn't like a Dalek, because Dalek wants to be like this thing. Oh god, I'm almost dead. And it also starts throwing fireball, yeah. It starts throwing oh god, no, fuck! Oh. Okay. I really don't know why I'm still alive, but yeah, when he's almost dead, he starts shooting a shit ton of fireballs like this, and one of them usually is enough to kill you. Holy shit, he's dead! And on my very first try too. That was a feat. That's right, you explode like you never existed, because you're a horrible contraption of death and destruction. Too bad that the only thing that died here is you! Rest in peace, nasty metallic enforcer. You shall be missed. Since it was too easy, here's a little montage about how the enemy can be a bitch. These are the many ways that some people have attempted to fight the enemy but brutally failed. For instance, you may think that flying will give you any kind of advantage, but guess again, because he shoots missiles upwards, unlike everything else into this game. Hence why Mercury mode should be avoided. This one, however, I really never understood why people even attempted it this way, because it's such a bastard to pull off. Because first of all, you need to find out the switch to open the door back, because this door can only be activated by touch plates, and then most of the time you end up seeing that the enemy is not even following you, and he was all the way back here. Sometimes the enemy is really resilient in following you around, so here we go, we just have to press back onto the button, rush back to the exit. But then we have another problem, we need to open the gate again because the enemy does not know how to open doors, and then you just get raped by a missile. And he doesn't get into the room neither, and when you finally manage to do so, after toiling through all of this trouble, you finally manage to get him to the fabled spin blades, thinking, alright, it's time for him to be desiccated. But you see that it doesn't do anything. Not only it doesn't take damage, but in earlier versions of the game, this will also make the game crash. So here's to another unsuccessful way. This one really doesn't work, although you can clearly see the boss fight. Come on! How am I dead? Obviously enough, it had to be to his weakest attack ever. While he's not shooting heat-seeking missiles or drunk missiles, he shoots those little discs. In a nutshell, these are really slow, however they keep homing at you, they never explode until they collide on a wall, and well, that's basically it. Just let's take a look at the review. There's a disc right behind me, and you know the rest of the story. Now you're simply asking for trouble. You're just never gonna do it.
Hello, we are back in part 7 of this level. Fuck! Okay, it's time to try it again with motivational music from America. America is wonderful country, filled with hope, babies as well than hamburgers. I really like the taste of babies in the morning, especially when I'm about to die. Okay, it's time to kill the boss again. Ho ho ho, it is a very fun thing to do. I love Rise of the Triad, and I especially like whenever the little robot that wanted to kill a man doesn't kill the man. However, it seems as if this is a very difficult thing to do. Well then, this will be my final attempt. YouTube doesn't allow for very long videos, so I am a bird of paradise that lost his wings and will be in a barbecue. I will eat a bird in the barbecue. Well now, we have made a lot of progress today. There's only about 10 seconds before YouTube cuts my video, so I will...
Yep. As you can probably tell, I have no comments to make about this. So I hope this little montage enlightened you about why the NME is such a bitch, and with that we are done with episode 3. But the question is, should we be happy that we are done with episode 3? Because, while episode 3 was not as good as the other 2 episodes, at least it was fun and playable, but yeah, this is where the train wreck begins. And yeah, by the way, you're reading right, because the next episode of Rise of the Triad suddenly decides to bring in the undead. Yeah, after the crazy cultist, the people in wheelchair, the giant Dalek-like robots, we have to fight zombies! Hell yeah! I mean, fighting zombies is really cool, because we've got Left 4 Dead and... No. I'm not even gonna make this kind of comparison, because there is quite a huge difference between both, as in Left 4 Dead actually is fun. So here we go, but before we do so, well, first of all, we have a comeback to do to the shareware episode, thankfully. I will also do a bonus video regarding the random level generator of this game, because yeah, this game has a level generator that makes level just based on the touch of a button, and well, it's pretty neat. And once that all of this will be done, we're gonna be at episode 4, area 1. Monkey business. Fuck.